So, I'm gonna do the New Orleans Saints. Um, so the New Orleans Saints, Dennis Allen's first year head coach, but he was defensive coordinator last year. He was in the building. The players know him. He's familiar with everybody, and their defense is really good in spots last year, especially um, against Tom Brady. But he just fits it, you know. He fits what they're about. So the quarterback, Jameis Winston. Uh Listen, I think they're a playoff team if he doesn't get hurt. And I really like what he's doing. And I think that if he's healthy, once again, this team is really built. And I think that he's gonna have a decent year. I really like Jameis. I think that going to New Orleans was the best thing for his career, and he learned behind Drew Brees and Sean Payton. Running back Alvin Kamara, they say he's now I know he's dealing with some off-field issues. Um, but on the field, he is in incredible shape, and they say they look like he wants to bounce back this year. And then they got Mark Ingram the second back there to be his relief, which I think they fit perfect together. Michael Thomas has been doing great at camp, which is a great sign because I like Michael Thomas as a player, and it's good to see him finally healthy. I mean, their receiving core is lit. You talking about Marquise Callaway and Traquan Smith are the fourth and fifth guys. You have Jarvis Landry and Chris Olave starting, and Chris Olave has been phenomenal at camp so far. Tight end, they got Taysom Hill, which I think he's going to be used as a weapon. And to be honest, I really kind of like them using him correctly. He Taysom Hill is like the definition of an athlete, like a baller. Like he could be quarterback, he could play special teams, he could be a tight end, and he's just a weapon, and I think he's gonna be great this year. And and I guess he already kind of got paid. So their left tackle, I do like their first round pick, Trevor, not first round pick, Trevor Olave was, but they got Trevor Penning, who I think is going to be a great addition. Left tackles camp has been, so he's gotten kicked out, being rough a couple of times. I like that though, especially for the NFL. I like that tenacity. I think it sets the tone. They got Andreas Pete, uh, Ryan Rasmick. I think he's back again. They just gotta once again, they're a quality built franchise with a good offensive line. Their defense, they're back again. Once again, they got Cameron Jordan, who I like. I like Cameron Jordan. I think not only is he a good professional, but he's a great guy off the field, and you know he he's one of those guys that's kind of been steady all pro. He's been the focal point of leading the defense. I also like Marcus Davenport. I want to see if he can put it all together. He was a high pick, and this is the time to kind of step into your own light. You got the veteran leadership. Linebacker Demario Davis, once again, wonderful middle linebacker. He's going to hold down the middle. He's one of those linebackers that can go sideline to sideline that fit today's NFL. And the corners, you got, they got they got Bradley Roby, right? He's probably going to play the slot. He's perfect. They got CJ Garner their safeties they got Marcus May and Tyrann Mathieu. And then you have Marshawn Lattimore on the other side. So it's their defense is good. They're I think they give Tom Brady fits. Once again, they beat Aaron Rodgers last year. So I think, to be honest, I think this is going to be one of those teams. If Jameis Wilson stays healthy, I can see the New Orleans Saints making the playoffs. And I got them going 10-7. All right. Corey?
Yeah, when it comes to New Orleans Saints, head coach Dennis Allen has been in New Orleans for a long time. I believe it was 2011 that he joined the team.
Yeah,
so he was just. I know. I feel like they interviewed a lot of people for the job, but he was the logical choice to replace Sean Payton when he kind of abruptly left. He's not a first-time head coach. But honestly, looking at his tenure in Oakland from 20, I guess it wasn't 2011.
It was 2012 to 2014.
Yes, 12 to 14. He was in Oakland, but he was kind of set up for failure. The Raiders were a mess at that point. The roster, bad cap situation, not a great roster, and so it was a bit of a train wreck. But I don't necessarily put that on Allen. I don't know that anybody would have succeeded as the head coach at that time. But we'll see what the loss of Sean Payton does end up meaning for this franchise, though, because Payton was a great head coach, a great offensive mind. Pete Carmichael has been with the team for a long time as well, but he's also not really called plays. So it'll be interesting to see just how impactful the loss of Sean Payton is for this team. Offensively, it does look like Alvin Kamara is going to avoid any punishment and a suspension for his incident at the Pro Bowl last year. So that is a kind of big deal for them. Jameis looked really good last year before he got hurt. Personally, I hope he can stay healthy because I really want to see what he can do in New Orleans in a full season. Again, that kind of comes back to the Sean Payton loss, though, because how much of that progression in Jameis Winston's game was Sean Payton and how much of it was just being in a system that kind of tailored to Jameis better. We'll see. There's no shortage of weapons, though. The wide receiver room is, as you mentioned, James, just crazy. Michael Thomas is back, looks good, which has honestly surprised me with just the mess that was going on and how rocky stuff seemed to be with him in the franchise. And then they go out and add Jarvis Landry and Chris Olave. It's guys that they were counting on for meaningful snaps last year at wide receiver are their fourth and fifth options now. And that level of depth is crazy. They have a really good offensive line. They've got a number of guys back in, Reese, Ramczyk, Pete, and everything. And I'm excited to watch that offense. I really want to see what it can do. They have the talent. It's just going to come down to the play calling. Defensively, they had a good defense last year. I thought that they might struggle a little bit because they did have to cut some of their depth to get under the cap because they were in salary cap hell. But their defense played really well last year. And then they went out and added Marcus May and Honey Badger in the back end, which is just adding an insane amount of talent at safety. As you mentioned, they already had Marcus Lattimore. I really liked Paulson Adebo coming out of Stanford last year, and now he's lining up opposite of Lattimore. Honestly, with this defense, as long as they can stay healthy, I think there's a pretty good potential that the offense could kind of struggle out of the gate as they just get used to the flow because just Jameis missed a lot of time last year. You have a new play caller. It may take some time to kind of find their footing and get into a flow, but this defense is good enough to help carry the weight for them during that time. So overall, I know I've said it a few times now, but The loss of Sean Payton, I don't think can be overstated. It's a major adjustment for the franchise, but kudos to this front office for loading up that roster and putting this team in a really good position to keep winning. A lot of their success is going to fall on the shoulders of Carmichael and Winston. As I said, I'm really intrigued to watch them this season. I think they're going to be a really fun team to watch. And picking games, I think they can go 11-6, and I fully expect the Saints to be a playoff team this year.
Yeah. All right, Craig.
Okay. All right. So the head coach, Dennis Allen, he's been there with the team for a while now on the defensive side. So him taking over kind of makes sense. He knows the players. He knows that locker room. And then he's taking over a team that can make the playoffs. It's not like rebuild or anything like that. So I fully expect the Saints to be contending for a playoff spot in a weak NFC. Last year they looked like they were going in that direction until Jameis got hurt. And before he got hurt, he wasn't having that 30-30 type season. So he was having a really good year. And who knows what could have happened if he didn't get hurt. So I kind of expect him to come back this season and have a similar type of season. And last year he was doing it without any type of wide receivers. This year he brings in Chris Olave. You guys are pretty much mentioned everything. Olave, Landry, and getting Michael Thomas back, who hasn't played since 2020. So the last time he played, Drew Brees was the quarterback. So we'll have to see what happens now that he doesn't have Drew Brees there. But I assume that with everything going on in camp, from what I've been hearing, he's having a really good camp. So he looks really good, like nothing ever happened. So I just assume that it's going to be like second nature between him and Jameis once the season actually starts. Alvin Kamara, I think he's one of the best overall backs as far as running and catching. If he can stay healthy, and I don't think there's going to be any issues with the suspension supposedly happening this year. I think they're going to probably postpone it until at least maybe next year, at least looking at it. Everything kind of got postponed. So that's good for him. So I kind of expect him to take advantage of this and have a really good season. If he does get hurt, I think Ingram, who's been around the league for a while, he played with the Saints a long time ago. He's back. He can come in and be a spellback for Alvin Kamara as well. The tight end's probably the weakest part of this team. Trotman and Taysom Hill is now playing tight end. Are your two guys there? The offensive line, I think Ramczyk is a really good right tackle. I think the loss of Armstead could hurt this offensive unit. He's one of the best left tackles in the NFL. So I expect that to maybe be an issue early on, but I think eventually once the season goes on, they'll get more comfortable with each other, and you'll see a better offensive line play from everybody overall. The defensive side is defensive side is loaded again. Saints have usually always had a really good defense anyway, so I didn't expect anything different. Cameron Jordan is one of the best edge rushers in the league. Marcus Davenport as well. So they have really good edge rushers. I like Demario Davis. He doesn't get a lot of praise, I don't think. But if any group of this defense is weak, it is the linebackers. But they're solid linebackers. Obviously, when you look at the secondary, Malcolm Jenkins, who's been in the league for what seems like ever, he retired. Marcus Williams is now on the Ravens. So they lost those two guys, and then they replaced those two guys with the Honey Badger and Marcus May. So, it just doesn't stop for this unit. Doesn't stop for this team. Marcus Lattimore is one of the better cornerbacks in my opinion in the league. Has been somebody the Panthers has had to deal with for a while, so he's still there. The Saints have always, at least for the last 5, 6, 7 years, have always really had a really good defense. So I kind of expect that to keep happening again this year. I think their defense is going to be probably top 5. Like I said, I expect them to compete for a playoff spot. I think if Jameis Winston can come out and play like he did last year before he got hurt, That's definitely a big plus, and I definitely think they can. I think he's going to have a really good season if he can stay healthy. So, we all know what the defense can do, and it's pretty much between Jameis Winston and I'm going to say Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas plays like he did 2019, 2018. Then this could be a really good, fun group to watch. I am kind of excited to see, even though I'm not a Saints fan, I can't stand him. I am kind of excited to see what James can do, fully healthy in a full season with this group of receivers. I got the Saints at 10-7. 10-7.
All right, Mo. The Saints.
Coach Dennis Allen. I mean, I think it was, I don't want to say a no-brainer, but I think when you had Sean Payton make the decision like he did, I think you had to hire within. It would have been a rough transition to hire somebody new. With that being said, I think this offense, if healthy and everybody's good, and if, Michael Thomas is what we've been saying in camp and looking like he's looking, it's scary. Like, the things they can do with this offense is real scary, because you could even keep Kamara on the field and then have Ingram back there in the backfield. You can go empty with the other wide receivers. You talk about solid receivers who are the fourth and fifth option. A solid offensive line. What I'm looking at right now, they got Trevor Penning, which I think was a first-round draft pick. Wasn't he their second first-round draft pick? I think right now they got him second on the depth chart. That's crazy. That's scary. So solid offensive line, solid running game. Jameis Winston, honestly, it's going to be on Jameis Winston. If Jameis Winston plays like he did before he got hurt last year, they could push for this division. I think they could push for a division title. They're that talented offensively, that talented defensively. Up front, Davenport is keep getting better and better. We know what you're going to get from Cam Jordan. Defensive tackles are solid. Linebacker play is a little bit of a question. Secondary, oh my goodness. Like, you bringing up Marcus May from the Jets, and then, Honey Badger, and then you got Lattimore. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, because even with the secondary, you got first, second round picks who are not bums as backups. Bradley Roby ain't sorry. CJ Gardner-Johnson not sorry. PJ Williams not sorry. You got dudes who are solid players as backups. Like, it's just a wealth of witches. So I see them. I honestly, and I know y'all gonna laugh like Mo treacherous what I'm about to say. Y'all know my quote. If the Saints are healthy, and I know it's a lot of ifs here, and I'm gonna give 2 ifs. If the Saints are healthy and Jameis Winston plays well and they don't make the playoffs, I
there you go, Mo. Come on, Mo.
I'm sorry. The NFC is not that good.
Man.
Like Craig said, the NFC is not that good.
For time, man.
Now, let me say this. The NFC is not that good for this team not to make the playoffs. Especially when you add another team, 7 teams can go. I don't see 7 teams better than the Saints right now. Like, on paper, when you touch the field, they touch the field fully healthy. I can't say 7 teams right now in the NFC that's better than them. Fully healthy. I just can't. I can't run them off. Maybe 3 or 4, but I can't name 7 off head that I can jump out there and say are better than the Saints right now, fully healthy, touching the field healthy. Like, it's hard to do.
Oh, no.